You know what pisses me off? Is he is over here yelling and screaming and serving lawsuits and well notices to people saying, the laws are clear. You know what's a security. You don't even know what's a security. There's a handful of cryptos that are deemed securities. Algorand being one of them. There's also Dash and a host of other ones, but Algorand is the most well-known of the group there. My anticipation was being labeled a security would have seen a massive price shock or a dump. The FUD, I think, would have kicked in, or at least that was my thoughts. I didn't see too much price movement, at least not to the level that we did. We had a little sell-off. What is the Algorand charts telling you?
Yeah, absolutely. So in my opinion, the reason you're not seeing a large sell-off in Algorand is because no one's taking Gary Gensler's opinions very seriously anymore. We already know he's very anti-crypto. We already know that he's tried to label everything except Bitcoin a security. So it's kind of like in the bull market, if you remember, Elon Musk talking about Bitcoin or Michael Saylor talking about Bitcoin in a positive manner. Like when Elon Musk first bought Bitcoin and Dogecoin, that was huge news and it pumped the price quite a bit. But then every positive thing he said about Dogecoin and Bitcoin thereafter kind of had diminishing returns because the market had already started to price in that Elon Musk was, pro Dogecoin, pro Bitcoin. When he tweets out, yeah, you get a small pump, but it's not like a lights out pump. So in my opinion, the market has already priced in the fact that Gary Gensler is very anti-crypto. And if he wants to sit and talk about Algorand being a security or whatever, we already know he thinks everything's a security. So it's not new news or breaking news. Now, I actually think the Algorand chart here looks extraordinarily constructive. So I like throwing on our easy bands to kind of get a picture of, are we overextended? Are we underextended? Obviously in a nasty bear market, you can ride these bands all the way down. However, this tells us when we're overextended and we need to be in a profit taking mindset when there's a high risk of a correction. So right now we see we're actually just loading up under this resistance of our 21-week simple moving average, which is our purple dashed line here. And we're actually seeing what is a bullish pattern here. It's hard to deny that this is a bullish pattern. That is an ascending triangle. Right. And ascending triangles are one of my favorite patterns to trade because they are so forgiving in terms of where you put your stop loss. So if we throw on a long position trade here, and again, these break upwards, I believe, with around 60 or 70% likelihood. I don't have the exact stats on this, but I believe it's around 60 to 70%, which does mean occasionally they will come down and they'll break down. And there's no such thing as a guaranteed move out of crypto. But this is a bullish pattern. And if we just buy the trend line, right, we have a very clear trend line, and we just buy the trend line, you can even buy right now at 22.16 cents. And then you just keep your stop loss here very tight wherever the pattern is invalidated. So if Algorand comes back down to 21 cents and takes out this prior support here, we're invalidated. The beautiful thing about ascending triangles is we get to target considerably higher. A lot of times these ascending triangles can break out and in a very explosive manner. So just structurally here, a retest of 29 cents doesn't seem out of the question. That's a risk reward level or risk reward ratio of 6.5 to 1, which I really don't mind this trade at all right now. Do I think that it's going to be 100% hit rate? No. Is there going to be some false breakouts sometimes? Sure. But if we align ourselves with probabilities, we just say, hey, this is loading up against resistance and we break out of this, we're looking for pretty high levels. Last thing I'll do here is throw on the long margin pressure levels off of our most recent swing low to really get a solid idea and grasp of where we could potentially target. So off of our bear market low for Algorand here, we're looking at potentially 32 cents as a big resistance level. And then if I move this to our most recent swing low, we also get hit 35 cents as a potential resistance level. And you see some structure to these levels over here. Prior support, prior resistance potentially could come back in. But these ascending triangles are, in my opinion, one of the easiest patterns to trade because you get to keep that stop loss in very tight. The other thing about these is that as this trend continues, you can actually move your stop loss up into profit because your invalidation point continues to move up with the uptrend. So even if we're wrong and this does break down at some point in the future, you can already have your stop loss up hiding below this trend line, well above your entry point as this continues. So imagine you entered right down here at 21 cents, right? You could already have your stop loss and profit holding below this trend line for the move upwards. And if we move down, you didn't lose any money. So ascending triangles, love them. Bullish pattern for Algorand. I think Algorand actually looks pretty decent here. You layer in the fact that Bitcoin dominance is starting to fall. We're starting to see some altcoin speculation. I think we could get a nice little pump out of Algorand.
These politicians and regulators are so lazy. They're so lazy. They refuse to dig into why. If they identify a problem, they're not going to go out and do research and spend time to figure out what stems from the problem. They just sit back and say, corporate greed. They're securities. Everything's a security.
What's funny is that she could literally pass legislation or promote legislation that could simplify and clarify the tax code so that way it wouldn't take 13 hours.
Well, here, to her, okay, so she goes on a tweet.
Well, no, I'm going to quickly say, on that note, go to, congress.gov and look at all the bills she sponsors. What the hell does she do in office? Like, all of her bills are the most useless wastes of time.
I'm asking you, sitting in your chair now, to make an assessment under the laws as exist. Is Ether a commodity or a security?
Without speaking to anyone.
I know you've repeatedly said you're not going to speak to one, except you've spoken to one, Bitcoin. So I'm asking you to speak to a second one, the second largest market cap here.
And speaking to the tokens, there's 10 to 12,000. If there's a group of entrepreneurs in the
asking about one.
The public is anticipating a profit based on the...
I'm asking you a specific question, Chair Gensler. I said this in private. This should be no shock to you. I'm asking this question. Is Ether a commodity or a security?
And again, it depends on the facts and the law, and if there's a group of individuals...
I'm asking you about the facts and the law sitting in your seat and the judgment you are making.
And so, Mr. Chair, I think you would not want me to prejudge because I'm also...
But you have prejudged on this. You've taken 50 enforcement actions. We're finding out as we go, as you file suit, as people get Wells notices on what is a security in your view, in your agency's view. I'm asking you a very simple question about the second largest digital asset. What is your view?
And my view is if there's a group of individuals in the middle that the public is anticipating...
All right, so let me just ask a second question.
Dude is...
Just answer the question. Just answer the question. Is it a security or not? That's literally his job, though, right? Your job is to determine what is a security, what is not a security, and then to regulate what is a security.
You know what?
How can you regulate? How can you pass rules or regulate if you can't even come out as the chair and say, "Hey, this one is or this one is not." It's been around long enough. I don't understand why he can't answer that question.
You know what pisses me off is he is over here yelling and screaming and serving lawsuits and well notices to people saying the laws are clear. You know what's a security. You don't even know what's a security. You refuse to say time and time again. Whether it's a services committee that's asking you the question and you're testifying, or it's an exchange that you brought into your office, or it's a crypto project, consistently you have been asked, is this a security? What is a security? Well, according to the laws, well, you are the one who regulates the laws. You're the one who enforces them. And you can't even say if the #2 market cap cryptocurrency is a security. But you went out there and labeled Bitcoin a commodity.
You know this has to do...
It is so infuriating. It is so infuriating.
It has to do with the court case. 100%. have caught the AI bug. I was up all night on ChatGPT trying to get it to give me prices, but there are some roadblocks and some safety features that won't give me the prices, or at least the AI won't. But I do want to stay in the AI world because it's all the craze. And I was curious if you can give me some alpha when it comes to the AI coins. And I've been looking at this Ajax, also known as Singularity Net. And you got any alpha on this one, brother?
Yeah. First of all, I am super bullish on AGIX Singularity Net. Anyone that's kind of been following me already knows that I'm super big on this coin. Really jumping into this coin, like a really deep dive, it is a very super interesting. If you haven't like gone to like the beta for Singularity Net and browse like all the programs that you'll be able to use, like it's basically a marketplace for AI. Like ChatGPT, for instance, like kind of gave everyone, like put their finger on the button for AI, let us use it, the masses use it for the first time. But this is a marketplace that will have so many different AI programs, and programmers can get paid in AGIX to put them on this front end, and we pay them in AGIX to use them. So there's, market trends, word translators, music demixers, where you can put like a music file in and it will separate the drums, the bass, the guitar, the vocals. There's so many cool programs that, like, once people really get a hold of these and really learn how to use them, just efficiency in so many different fields, it's going to go through the roof. And I'm super bullish on what they're bringing to the table here. Kind of just zooming out from AGIX for just a minute here. This coin is kind of hard to predict. I mean, it is a lower market cap. It's like ranked 97 by market cap right now. But basically last year, the AI market size, the entire AI market was $119 billion. It is expected by 2030 to be $1.5 trillion. So this is a market that is still premature, that is still going to climb up substantially over the years, especially once we kind of get like regulation, and to the degree like how much AI is going to be on our lives, how often we use it, how accessible it is, X, Y, and Z. So really this coin is married to the overall, like how well all AI does. And I really feel like this could be a standout project. Like this could be like Amazon way back in the day, except for AI now. So this is one of those coins that it's really kind of hard to couple it with other crypto coins. In general, I find it interesting. I did Cardano on the price prediction department not too long ago. Cardano's currently at 44 cents. Right now, Singularity Net is at 43 cents. But obviously, Cardano's market cap is much, much higher, with a circulating supply that's much, much higher. But this, right now, the market cap for AGIX is 525 million, with a circulating supply of 1.2 billion. The total supply is 2 billion, and that will be released over time over the next 89 years, is what my research found. So basically, this coin this year has already completely blown everything out of the water. The first 20 days of the year, it pumped 392%. From the beginning of the year to now, it has pumped over 800%. But so kind of my thing here is, how much more does it have left? How much can it keep going? And like I said, that kind of all has to do with how fast like the rest of this rolls out. Like right now, the marketplace is still in beta. Like when will that roll out? I'm not sure. In the past 3 months, there's been a 66% increase in addresses on the network, which is super bullish. So more people are catching on to it. For Cardano, I gave a prediction of $5 to $7. For this, if it had a if it was $6, its market cap would be around 7.3 billion. So I'm kind of thinking that this will outperform Cardano in terms of its actual price, just because of how low the market cap is. And this is a new industry. This is one of this is the beginning of AI marketplaces. And if you watch the interview that Ben did with their founder, who is also named Ben, very interesting interview. I'm super bullish on this project, if you can't already tell that. I'm looking at a price point of $6 to $8. Top of the bull run, November 2025 projected.
Well, thanks so much for the alpha. I'm looking at the AI ecosystem. I think that does have the potential, in my opinion, to rival what we saw in the last bull market run, where you had all the craze being NFTs and then metaverse. I think that as AI interest ramps up, Elon Musk has recently came out and said that they're launching a competitor to the Chat GPT, Truth GPT, and we know how much he pumps the market. So with that said, it's something I'm going to be looking out for.
Experts predict major market shifts once XRP is classified as a non-security. Renowned trader Tree of Alpha believes the event could trigger an uptrend for the top 300 assets in the market. They're saying that it could potentially spark a market-wide rally as the legal tussle between Ripple and the US SEC draws to a close. Market watchers are closely monitoring the situation and making predictions about how the broader crypto market will respond to the final verdict.